limited by the future we need. I mean, wanting and needing is different. But anyway, whatever it is, I think it's merely in the documentary form. That's the challenge. And I hope the Secretary General will be able to put it into an implementable and operatable instrument rather than just limiting it to the shelf of documents. So I think something is going to happen in the UN General Assembly. I think a panel of experts, a committee of experts has already been set up to go through the elements of the outcome document and make it really implementable. And whatever came out in the name of pledge, I think it was to the tune of 500 plus billion US dollar. That is only a pledge, not even a commitment. You see, so that pledge and the commitment has to be put into the into the reality. So that's another thing we should be alert about. So I won't be long. And something I would like to tell you about some good thing that Nepal is taking, or Nepal has been taking as a mountain country. Nepal is a mountain country, everybody knows. We are also a mountain country, we should say. But in a way, we are a lead mountain country, because we are more than half a dozen 8,000ers in terms of meter, of course. We have the highest mountain in the world. But being a mountain country, we face challenges. Being a mountain country, we have immense potential that we need to tap and optimize. But being a mountain country, that potential is not costless. I mean, that has a cost involved, and that cost comes with challenges. And being a mountain country, we immensely face enormous challenges. We are the most climate vulnerable country in the world. We have been ranked 4th, basically because of growth. This glacier lake outburst. So challenges are there, but what we need to focus on and what we are trying to do is to address the challenges and minimize them, minimize the proportion of challenges, and tap the potential and optimize its proportion. So that is what we are planning to do, and we have taken what it is called the Mountain Initiative. Of course, there are initiatives in all other mountain countries as well, but this was something which we had promised in COP15 in Copenhagen 2010, and following the promise or commitment that we made during that meeting, we organized one international conference of mountain countries on climate change, attended by as many as 40 plus countries, all mountain countries. And the conference came out with what is called the Kathmandu Call for Action. So that is a 10-point declaration, and that basically highlights 3 things. The first, that talks about, as Dr. Deuba was touching upon, that talks about creating a dedicated fund for the mountain countries alone, rich or poor, developed or developing, all mountain countries. Because being a mountain country does not free that country from challenges. They also suffer from the landslides, they also suffer from the erosion of the mountain ecosystem. Of course, they have more ability and more capacity to handle it, but that capacity needs to be shared, and that is why this initiative is. So they are also on board. So this dedicated mountain fund, dedicated fund for mountain countries to confront the climate change negative impacts, has been suggested in the declaration. The other 2 things are, one, the first thing is we called upon to develop a global work program, because something has to be done at the global level, because we are a diverse country. That diversity has to find a way to commonality, and based on commonality we can bring a sort of convergence, and based on that convergence we can collaborate with each other and go for cooperation. So all these 3 C's again. So but for that we need to have global work program. And based on that global work program, we, the mountain countries, will individually develop the national action plan. So that is what have been adopted, what has been highlighted in the Kathmandu Call for Action that was adopted by that conference. That was in April this year. So I just wanted to mention about that, because we have to work together. We have to work together, as Mr. Rathore was talking about the journey. So that journey should be common. It's not an isolated journey, not participated by the countries. It should be a common journey. So, so these were the points that I basically picked from the presentations and discussions. It's not something like you ask questions and we answer. It's a deliberation. It's a discourse, and the knowledge that we have needs to be shared with each other. And basically, the message that has been officially communicated by the Rio +20 summit needs to be put into practice. That document needs to be given strong teeth. The future we want, that outcome document. Otherwise, we'll be nowhere. So for that, we need to put a necessary amount of pressure on the United Nations collectively, and the influential members of the United Nations individually. So that is my plea to all of you. So with these remarks, I'd like to thank ICIMOD again, and end my address. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and very eloquently summarizing the things. And actually, these 3 seats, 4 seats, and my colleague Will Douglas Puladar actually is taking note of everything, and will be putting the outcome of this into the web and will be circulated to all the participants. Thank you very much. And at this time, I would like to thank, with a very short time, Mr. Secretary, Krishna Gewali, Mr. Rathore, Mr. Tong Man, and Dr. Arju Deuba, Dr. Rao, Dr. Jiang, and Madam Asna for your valuable time, and all the participants, scientists who participated, contributed. This is one of the vibrant sessions. Actually, there are so many things that need to be asked and discussed, but because of time limitation, we have to end. And thank you so much for your effective participation and meaningful participation. Hope we will go with the strong message of these 4 C's, and let us start together for green economy. Thank you very much, and thank you.